Hello, and welcome to the Organic Wine Podcast. This is Adam Huss coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Thank you so much for listening. And a special thank you to those of you who support this podcast by subscribing to our Patreon channel. Your support makes it possible for me to share these really special conversations like the one you're about to hear. And more than that, it's an incredibly meaningful encouragement to me and the work that I do. Thank you. If you'd like to support this podcast via Patreon, that link is in the show notes and at organicwinepodcast.com, along with some other great ways that you can support. My guest for this episode is Gizem Duyar of Kerasus Wine. And I apologize right now for my mispronunciation of names, now and throughout the episode. Gizem lives and makes wine in Turkey from married vines that are over a century old. A married vine is a vine that has been wrapped to a tree, grown with the tree, and lives symbiotically with a tree as its support structure. It is likely the most ancient form of viticulture because it is simply mimicking how vines grow naturally without human intervention. This was the original Vitiforestry. Because of this relationship with its partner tree, the vine gets many benefits that Gizem discusses. There's something so special about this relationship that Gizem has committed to making a very traditional form of natural wine in amphora that she has altered to include a unique technique for keeping the wine amber or orange while including both white and red grapes. She adds nothing and removes nothing from the wine so that it can reflect the special expression of that relationship between the vine and the tree. She calls the wine Melez, which is the Turkish word for hybrid. It describes her winemaking process, but it also takes on a much more literal meaning when you discover that the red grape that she blends with is hybrid grape from America that has been living in Turkey for over 100 years. Turkey has an ancient winemaking tradition that has fallen out of popularity lately for social and political reasons. It is home to thousands of indigenous varieties of Vitis vinifera, and it has also lost thousands of acres of vineyards in recent years. Turkey's neighbor Georgia gets a lot of attention in U.S. wine circles, and it should. But once you start digging into Turkey, you'll find as much as 3 Georgias worth of wine culture. It's incredibly rich in wine history. After all, both countries have been at it for almost 8,000 years or more, from times before the borders or the names Georgia or Turkey even meant anything. I want to say a big thank you to Gizem for being willing to attempt this conversation in English. As you'll hear, she starts speaking at the beginning, and then her friend Elif, who is an English teacher in Istanbul, basically took over and spoke for Gizem the rest of the conversation. So a big thank you to Elif as well. Elif answers in the first person as if she is Gizem because she's acting as translator. And there are times when she asks Gizem some questions in Turkish. I didn't edit these sections out because I know there are some folks from Turkey who listen to the podcast and may like hearing it even more than I do. Gizem actually did a lot of work to prepare for this interview. I sent her questions in advance so she could translate them and understand them and work on her answers and pronunciation in English. She did all this because she really wants to spread the word about the benefits of married vines and the beautiful wine that they can make. Enjoy. Hello, welcome. Thanks for doing this. Gizem, can you introduce yourself and your friend who's with you?
Yeah, hello. My name is Gizem and I live in Istanbul, Turkey. We are making amphora wines in Giresun, which is in the Black Sea region, while staying true to tradition, but we are always open to development.
And also, I am a friend of Gizem. I am here to help her. So, yeah, today she's going to talk about her wine, as she said as well. But, yeah, I will just be assisting her. That's it.
Fantastic. Okay. And now, are you both in Istanbul right now?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Which side are you on which side of Istanbul?
Anatolian side.
Anatolian. Okay.
Yeah, we are staying Anatolian side.
That's funny. I just had a crash course because, as I told you, my I have family going in a week to Istanbul, and I was talking to them about where they will be, and I was like, and look, and this is where they're making the wine. It's coming from over here. So how far is it from Istanbul to the region where you are getting the grapes? It's
maybe
it's a
2 hour with take a plane.
Okay.
2
And do you
hours
make
is
okay?
nearly 2 hour. Yeah.
And is that how you get out there usually? Do you spend? Do you have family there? Why do you make wine there?
Because Kerasus and Gizem region is the very special region because they don't know and they don't remember to make wine, and this tradition is the don't remember these people that live people, and
it's kind of like it's normally it's an old tradition, but now people don't do it. So Gizem wants to kind of like do it again, to show
Revive it.
to show revive it. Yeah.
yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
So yeah, I've heard. I read, did a little research and was reading about all of these varieties of grapes. Thousands of varieties of grapes indigenous to the area, and huge vineyard areas are being destroyed, right, for other kinds of farming. So these old vineyard areas, like I heard something like from the in a 3-year period, vineyard area the size of all the vineyards in New Zealand were destroyed in Turkey. And these were like old vineyards. Is that something that you're trying to help preserve those vineyards by reviving the winemaking in those areas?
Not exactly, actually. What I am trying to do is kind of like in the ancient times there was winemaking there, and now I am trying to do it again because people here, they don't make wine there anymore.
So what happens?
It's not about vineyards, but it's about wine, actually. I don't know, maybe it's about tradition, maybe it can be about sorry, I need to ask this in Turkish.
Yeah, please.
Pause for a moment. Yeah. Neden artık yapılmadığını soruyor. Yani neden mesela yok edildiğinden bahsetti şeylerin. Niye?
Bu biraz siyasi bir konuşmaya girebilir. Çünkü biraz mübadeleden sonra, yani oradaki Ermeni ve Rum nüfus mübadele sonrası oradan ayrıldıktan sonra kültürlerini de götürmüş oluyorlar haliyle. Yani biraz Osmanlı sonrası bölgeye Müslüman akımının yerleşmesiyle unutturulmaya çalışan bir kültür aslında.
Okay, yeah, it's about in before Turkish Republic, people they were like different kind of people living there from different cultures.
Right.
So they used to produce wine there, but after some political things, after the change of maybe we can say the government and everything, things changed. That's why we can say. So this is like a political thing.
Gotcha. And it sounds like, if I'm correct, Gizem, that you are an archaeologist. Is that sort of where your interest started, was in researching these older cultures that are sort of forgotten cultures in that area?
Yeah, actually, I'm not exactly an archaeologist, but I was interested in archaeology. So
okay.
Yeah, so that's why I visited some like ancient places in Turkey. But I was interested in archaeology in the field of food, we can say.
Okay.
So I was interested in the fields where the grapes were born. So
nice.
That is the reason.
Okay. Well, great. Well, yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about what you're doing there? How are you approaching the winemaking and the revival of these old
so maybe I can start from the we can go from the start maybe. So we are making amphora wines in Giresun, and this place is in the Black Sea region. So we are trying true to tradition, but we are also always open to development. So I have two partners, Alperen and Berat, and we established Kerasus in 2019. So our annual production capacity varies depending on the amount of grapes we can find actually, because we are searching for grapes, and
Uh-huh.
then we are making our wine depending on that. And as we don't have vineyards, we collect them from
Uh-huh.
people
Uh-huh.
from the different parts of Turkey, and we utilize wild yeast fermentation,
Uh-huh.
refrain from filtration, and we don't use sulfur.
Uh-huh.
So far, we have only produced dry wines, and we also have experiments with pet nuts as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So that's a good overview. And that
Yeah,
is the, I don't know if you, do you call it Kerasus wine? That's like the brand name?
yeah, it is the brand name.
Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah, yeah, correctly, Kerasus.
Kerasus.
This
Okay.
is uh, this is the name of Giresun in the ancient times, actually.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Now this is, yeah, Far East Black Sea region. Along, is it along the coast of the Black Sea, or is it
Yes.
further? It
Yes.
is, yeah.
Yeah, it is along the Black Sea.
So what? Why? I guess my question. This is a harder question, I guess, but I'm trying to understand what was the interest. Obviously, you started with this food culture, the food archaeology, I guess, reviving and finding, being in fascination with these sort of older cultures that had been, that are sort of, falling into the past and being forgotten. What
Hmm.
why the interest in that? Like, why do you care to do what you're doing? What is the philosophy maybe that you have that makes you want to utilize these grapes in these winemaking?
Yeah, actually, my experience. This one you want to say? So, actually, our research. I began this by researching, and it started in the archives. And I saw that
Mm,
there was a significant wine trade, along with subtle references to wine recipes. So
mm,
that's why we aim to create a truly pure wine, since the definition of natural wine was still evolving, and producing a wine that came closest to nature was exciting for us as well. And that's why using grapes from untamed wines, we watch them transform into wine inside amphoras through fermentation and without adding anything to the grapes that nature provided. I mean, for us, even it turns into a vinegar, that's not a problem because it just wanted to be that way. So, yeah, I think it's about that.
so when you say untamed vines, what do you mean? What is
Uh,
that? Yeah,
it
what does
means
that mean to you?
we're just collecting them from nature. We don't do anything to them. So, we are not interfering with the um, let's say with the can I say function of earth? No, it's like the how it functions. We are not interfering with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And so I know this is part of the reason that I'm some of the questions I'm asking you are getting at part of the reason I got excited to talk to you. These vines aren't necessarily growing in what, we have come to think of as a vineyard in modern times, right? They're growing in
Yeah.
different contexts. Can
Yeah.
you sort of talk about, where you're finding these grapes and these what the context is of where these grapes are growing?
Actually, we are collecting wines, grapes from different parts of Turkey. So, for example, Giresun is one of them, and also we are collecting grapes from mountains, and this is from exactly we can say opposite of the place I'm talking, which I mean the Giresun,
Okay.
and it's in the Aegean side. It's the west of Turkey.
Okay.
So actually, Turkey has many different regions which provide different kinds of grapes. So we are really lucky for that because, as I said, in the ancient times, the grapes were born here in Turkey. That's why I
Right.
was also interested. So I have chance to experiment with all these different kinds of grapes. That's why for example, I'm going to a place, for example, in the Aegean side, and I'm talking with the people, with the local people there. I'm looking at the grapes, the vineyards, and I am collecting them, etc. Just like this.
Right. And it sounds like you are finding, I don't know if this is in the mountains on the Aegean side or if it's along the Black Sea and Giresun area, but you are finding married vines, you're finding vitiforestry type vineyard systems. And I would love to hear about that, of course. It sounds like you have a bit of a focus on the married vines. I mean, based on what maybe it's just one of the things that you like to focus on. But if you can talk about,
Yeah, actually,
what you
after
found.
sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so after searching for, different kinds of grapes, actually, our focus now is on married wines. So we use Vitis vinifera and Vitis labrusco varieties with a priority on endemic grapes. And we are also preserving the diversity of grapes in the region, which is also important to us. So actually, all of our grapes now come from married wines, and
Really?
their average age is a minimum of 100 years. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's actually very important for us, the married ones.
Amazing. Yeah. So where are they? Are these, which are they over on where you were saying in the mountains on the Aegean side, or are they more in the
And also
Giresun area,
in
or
the
both?
maybe I can talk about the history of these wines, if it's okay, the married wines. So in the
Yes.
Black Sea region, we found some
Yes.
references to these wines, and they were first mentioned in Strabo's Geographica, and later by the traveler Jacob Philipp von Merier, who visited the region in 1840, and he wrote about grapes climbing up tall black poplars, dark green plane trees, and huge walnut trees. And he described the
Uh-huh.
grapes as fragrant and intensely aromatic. And our work in the Aegean region revealed even older practices, as the Etruscans once lived there, and observing that wines were trained in a certain pattern and they were wrapped around specific trees made us realize, yeah, we were in the right place. So, this conscious practice was also found in the Etruscan culture, and it was later adopted in Italy as well.
Right.
Although it may have started as a natural growth, the Etruscans likely noticed that grapes thrived this way, and it led them to wrap vines around trees. And later, Roman viticulture left behind this method and shifted to vineyard systems we know today. So, as we were talking about.
Right.
And while our country doesn't have an exact equivalent, we refer to it as wines wrapped to trees. We don't have the Turkish term for it exactly. We're just calling them like they are wrapping to trees, and we
Yeah.
focus on married wines because they haven't been interfered with for a long time, and they're completely in harmony with nature and grow as they wish. So as you can understand, our philosophy is like we are not interfering anything.
Oh, fine.
Yes. Yeah.
Hello.
Great. So we were just talking about the married vines,
Yeah.
and you were saying, essentially you were saying there isn't a specific term in Turkish that means married vines, but you say vines that wrap around trees, and this fits
Yeah.
around your philosophy because they are fully integrated into their natural ecosystem, where you're finding them. Are you finding them like in groves, like in areas where there's a whole bunch of vines planted at the base of trees and growing up into the trees, or do you have to kind of search and you find one here and then one there and that kind of thing?
Yeah, actually, we can say like that because, as I said, we are searching for wines in the different regions of Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have like an exact place or exact yard like the normal the let's say common wine the people are producing. So that's why we are visiting different places. It can be like mountains, for example. We are going there and we are talking to the local people who have those trees. So we are like searching and then we are collecting them and producing our wines.
Great. And how many in one area do you usually find? I mean, is it usually just like one tree with a vine, or do you find more than one?
Um, we can say like three generally. Three.
Three. Okay.
Oh, or it can be actually. Sorry, I'm sorry. You can have like many trees, like up to maybe. No, I'm sorry. 1 second. I think we need to cut this part because
That's
I
okay.
need to
Yeah.
ask this to my
No, please,
friend.
please go ahead. Yeah.
No, onu sormuyor. Mesela diyelim bir ağaç buldun. Kaç tane var o ağaçtan? Bu
Aynı
ağaca sarılı şeylerden, üzümlerden. Kaç ağaç olabilir orada? Bir mi, iki mi?
Bölgede 8 tane ağaç var bu şekilde Ege bölgesinde.
Senin yaptığın mı?
Aynen.
Yoksa spesifik genel mi bunu söyleyebiliriz?
Benim bulup
Okay.
kullandığım, üzümle kullandığım 8 ağaç var Ege bölgesinde. Giresun'da 5.
Okay, so for our wine in the Aegean Sea we have 8 trees exactly, and
Oh,
in
wow.
Giresun we have 5 trees actually. But
Oh,
these
okay.
are the wines we are working on. So I'm not
Right.
talking about as a general information. So
Right. Just,
Yeah.
there's together there, those are the two sort of two groves of trees that you're working with.
yes.
So are the people who live there, are they taking care of those vines, like pruning them in the winter or doing anything to them throughout the year?
Actually, no. As we said, these are very, we can say, wild
Wow.
grapes, yeah, because we don't want to. I'm just repeating myself. Sorry for saying this again, but we are not interfering with nature.
Right.
So
Right.
we tell them consciously, actually, to not to do anything like artificial.
Right.
And we say that the tree needs to grow on its own how it wants to be. So for us, all the natural conditions are very important.
Okay.
I mean, if it grows with the wind, then it's okay. Let it grow with the wind. If it takes so much sun, that's okay, because all of these give the wine a different kind of taste. Different kind of
Yes.
aroma, let's say.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot.
Thank you.
Very much.
I hope you will taste it one day. Maybe you can visit with your family and you will have chance to taste it.
I hope so. I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and the grapes are I know of 2 grapes, and one of the grapes is actually a North American hybrid grape, or it has North American genetics, right? The Isabella, right?
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
And so that must have been planted, back in the 1800s at some point, and now it's just sort of gone feral, is what it sounds like. Is that correct?
Gone what? Sorry, can you repeat?
Feral, sort of wild. Feral.
Yeah.
Right,
You're right.
Yeah.
Now, actually, people are using it, like they're collecting it for daily use from the trees. Yeah, they are making things from it. Actually, it's like as you said, it's a wild grape, and it's just it is not widely used for wine, let's say.
Right. And the other grape or grapes, are there more than how many varieties of grapes are there besides Isabella?
Besides Isabella, we can say white and red grapes. These are the only ones I know.
Okay.
Actually, we know. Let's say.
Uh-huh.
Apart from that, we don't have knowledge very much.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are there specific names for the varieties of the other grapes besides Isabella?
Um, I think they're called black grapes. Yeah, and
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Um,
it. Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. I think I'm not gonna say anything. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
That's sorry. I was looking for something, and that's why I just yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. No problem. So I'd love to know. I want to get into your winemaking eventually because I think you guys are doing some really interesting things by combining the white and the dark grapes, or the light and the dark grapes. But I would love to focus a little bit for now on those married vines, and what do you notice from seeing them in this sort of feral wild state that they're in now? Are they healthier? Are they, what kind
Mm.
of issues do you see, or what kind of benefits do you see? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. 1 second. So maybe we can talk about the benefits first, because married wines are less susceptible to diseases like
Yeah.
mold and frost, which
Okay.
is due to their higher position above the ground.
Uh-huh.
And for this reason, they require fewer treatments compared to divorced vineyards. And nature always finds a way to get away from the bad things, right? And
Yeah.
given the recent fluctuations in weather conditions, they have proven quite resilient, actually. And our
Right.
harvest times have been consistent for the past 3 years. um, However, cultivated wines, it's the planning is necessary to determine the optimal harvest time. It's as it's a um, we don't have, like, when you do things with the nature, the planning is hard, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You have to
Yeah,
just observe and
yeah,
watch and be ready. Um,
absolutely.
do you do you have any problem with birds, for example, or other animal pests that might want to eat your grapes?
um Actually, yeah, maybe we can talk about insects. Yeah, no.
Yeah, please.
We believe that insects cause less damage to varied wines, possibly due to their salivary secretions and vibrations that wines produce, which deter harmful insects. Actually, this is not a problem for us as well. So through
Insects, no
this,
problem.
through this remarkable connection, they actually protect the ivy as well. And also for the birds, we can say we are sharing them with the animals as well, right? We are not, yeah, it's not a problem for us yet.
There's plenty of grapes, apparently.
Yeah, for them
So
and for us as well.
yeah, so what I'm imagining, are these trees very big? Um, yeah, I mean, how big are the trees that these vines are growing in?
I don't know how I can tell it. Like, yeah.
In
Um, yeah, it's
meters?
about, you're talking about the size, yeah?
The size of the trees, yeah.
Uh, they have body, and they are able to wrap. I don't know this in English. Maybe I can check it. 1 second.
Yeah, take your time.
Um, it can actually wrap an oak tree. Maybe you can compare it with that. The
Okay.
size.
So these are fully mature trees, right? I mean, in terms of height, do you know how many meters tall they are? We had a little miscommunication here, but after the fact, she let me know the trees can be up to 20 meters tall. The one do you have in one vine? How many grapes are you producing? How much? I mean, not are you producing, but how much do you find growing from one married vine?
How much we are producing? We are nearly 80, between 80 and 100 kilograms from one tree.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot. So yeah,
Yeah.
over 200 pounds, and that's one vine too, like one vine for one tree, right?
Yeah, one tree from one tree.
Right. Wow. That is, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a lot. So these are big vines in big trees with a lot of grapes.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's right.
Okay, great. Um, I like the idea of sharing with the animals as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have that much, and are they? Maybe that's my question. Is that how much you harvest? The maybe 80 to 100 kilograms is what you actually harvest. So it actually produces more than that, but you're sharing some of the total with the animals and birds, and then you get whatever's left, and still what's left is 80 to 100 kilograms. Is that correct?
Yeah, normally we are having 350 and 500 kilogram, and we are like leaving the rest to the nature as we talked. But
Oh, wow.
the wine we get in the eventually the numbers I said previously. Yeah.
Got it. Per tree, that was each tree is that much? Does that make sense?
Yeah, one second. I need to ask this.
Yeah.
Bir ağaçtan mı sadece
Hayır,
350-500?
Totalde kullandığımız üzüm miktarı.
Ama birini soruyor.
Birinden
şurada.
80 ve 100 kilo ürün alıyoruz.
Hı hı.
Totalde 350-500 kilo
Bu
arası
8 ağaçtan
kullanıyoruz.
aldığın mı?
Evet.
So, yeah, to be clear, we get, as I said, between 80 and 100 kilogram from one tree. But in total, we talked, right? We have 8 in Aegean side, and we have 5 trees in the Black Sea region. In total, we have between 350 or 500 kilogram, and we are leaving the rest to the nature, to be like fair, as we said. Yeah.
Right. Nice. Okay. Understood. And it sounds like all of these trees quite old? Are they all approximately the same age? Because
they are approximately 100 years old.
Got it.
Yeah.
Probably the last time, that this kind of viticulture was practiced, and then it went away. So have you had the experience of being able to taste the kind of wine made from these trees next to wine made from normal vineyards that is made in a similar style, and to see if there's a difference in flavor?
Yeah, actually, these wines reflect the terroir. When you taste our wines, you can truly sense the aromas of the plants, tree flowers, and the earth. And experiencing the transition of aromas and flavors in the wine is why we refrain from using sulfur. And in the process of wild yeast fermentation, we have around 1,300 different strains of yeast, which is significantly more diverse than cultured yeast. And particularly in our wine, which is called Melez, we designed a special barrel for the unique technique of combining Vitis vinifera and Vitis labrusca varieties. And we believe this is a pioneering application where the aroma of the vinifera cassava grape was wonderfully complemented by the aromas of the labrusca Isabella grape. So the result was a wine with an unexpected range of aromas, starting with honey-like scents, transitioning to whetstone, and ending with umami. So apart from that, we don't yet have a comparable vineyard system, as our wine's still young. They are only 2 years old, and we are patiently waiting for them to mature. So Yeah.
Right, right. Very exciting. So what does you make the one wine called Melez, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what does that mean in Turkish?
It is actually, melez is a Turkish word. Normally it means hybrids.
Hybrids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, hybrids.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Why that name? Because of the combination, or is it the
Yeah,
specific?
because of the combination, actually.
That's great. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk about the techniques that you're using to make that wine in more specific detail?
Yeah, okay, I can. So we produce our wines in Anatolian amphoras
Mm-hmm.
coated with beeswax or glazed ceramic amphora.
Mm-hmm.
And we refrain from adding any additives. We try to avoid filtration. And as I said, we don't use sulfur. And watching the liveliness and development of the wine, and we are witnessing the aroma transitions as well. And over months without sulfur, it is incredibly rewarding. And we also enjoy playing with grapes, just like playing with like Lego, and creating various blends. For example, for our Melez wine, Berat, my partner, even designed a special barrel to predict the movement of the grapes inside.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Melez technique, we used 2 different grape families. One of them Vitis vinifera and the other one is Vitis labrusca. And this blend of Melez, we said this actually, it's, as you said, it translates as hybrid. And it brought together the aromas of Isabella grapes from the Labrusca family and the Kazova grape from the Vinifera family. So we believe this was a likely first kind of its application, and the Labrusca aromas wonderfully complemented the Kazova grapes aromas, and the resulting wine had extraordinary ones. I'm talking about aromas, starting with honey scents and transitioning to whetstone and ending with umami.
Now, yeah, that's very fun. And you guys you're separating the 2 grapes in a way in the amphora. Is that correct? During the fermentation, you create a basket, like a straw basket layer that you can then pull out. So you're sort of steeping the Isabella in for a less amount of time to give less color, perhaps.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's correct.
Because otherwise you'd have probably a red wine by the end if you left it all in for the full time. Is that right?
Yeah, with this technique, we are actually deciding we are producing different kind of wine, and we are preventing it to become a red wine. Yeah.
That's really cool. And here's a question for you. I don't know if you can answer it, but do you know the history of how Isabella came to be in Turkey? Neither of us really knew our history here, but I did a little research, and Isabella is a fascinating grape. It grew in the southeastern United States from a chance crossing between the native grape Vitis labrusca and a rare Vitis vinifera brought to America by Europeans. In other words, it's a feral hybrid that is adapted to and can grow well in subtropical and even tropical climates and resists phylloxera and most fungal pests. So that made it very popular. It produces abundant dark clusters of grapes that have been described by a Russian poet as fleshy and heavy like a cluster of night itself. Why a Russian poet, you may ask? Well, like I said, it became very popular because of its abundance and its adaptability and resistance. Because of that, it was taken around the globe. And so it is still one of the most popular grapes in Colombia and Brazil. And, during that time, it was also taken to France, where it was also banned in 1934. But by then, the French had given it to the Russians, and it had become one of the most popular grapes there and in the nations of the former USSR. In fact, it came from somewhere around Georgia, USA, and now lives in Georgia, the country. Full circle grape. And it was spread to Turkey, of course, which is not too far from Georgia. In fact, adjacent. If you've eaten Turkish sarna, or what you may know of as dolmas or stuffed grape leaves, you may have eaten Isabella leaves. Fascinating. When you tell people when you talk to people about what you're doing in Turkey, do they think you're crazy or do people support you?
Actually, we can say, yeah, they think I'm crazy because, as I said, culturally and also politically, winemaking is not supported very much.
Right.
So, and also natural wine is not very common as well.
Right.
So we can say we are helping natural wine to gain popularity in Turkey as well.
Right.
And also, as we still do not add sulfur and we do not make any filtration during the while we produce the wine, people think, yeah, are you crazy? Are you nuts? Yeah.
So has it worked out so far? Have you had to throw away any vinegar or anything? Any batches that went bad?
Batches that went bad.
I mean, any wines that became bad tasting, like became vinegar or anything like that, because
Yeah, while I'm making wines, yes, of course. That's why we said if a wine goes into bad batch, we say that it's okay. It wanted to be that way. So, of course, we are not for the ones we sold, for the ones people tasted. No, we didn't get any negative comments actually.
nice. Yes, I actually saw
Yeah.
some very lovely reviews on. I mean, two very lovely reviews of Melez on Instagram and online from people that got to taste the very limited production. It sounds like how much do you end up making? Maybe 500, 600 bottles. How much do you end up making of the Melez?
For Melez, we have 76 bottles.
Oh,
Actually, yeah.
even less.
Yeah, but this year we are planning to produce more.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
How many years have you done this?
For Melez, this will be the second year, but
Oh,
I
wow.
have been producing for 3 years, for 3 years. Yeah.
Got it.
But before that, I also worked with, as I said, with Udo Hirsch. And
Uh-huh.
also I tried some winemaking on my own as well, like
Right.
in my own, say, garden kind of
Yep.
place where I was first experimenting things. So, yeah,
Lovely.
thank you.
So when you fly out to the Black Sea area, Giresun area, what do you do once you pick the grapes? Do you make the wine in that region, or like how do you like? I'm guessing eventually the wine ends up in Istanbul. Is that correct?
Actually, no.
Okay.
I am producing wine in Giresun.
Okay.
I have a place there, and
Okay.
I made that with my own hands as well.
Oh, wow.
I carved the soil. I put some stones there, and I built that place to make my own wine.
Wow.
But for my other wines, I am making them in the more Aegean region and
Uh-huh.
with the help of friends,
Okay.
because these are like from the very opposite sides of Turkey. It's like impossible for me to go from there to
Right.
there and follow there. So
Yeah. It's a big area.
they are coming to Istanbul eventually to generally to sell them to for the people who want to try it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, in the areas where you are making the wine, do you hope to find more married vines? Do you know of more married vines? Are you searching for more?
Yeah, maybe I can ask this question. Arıyor
Yeah.
musun daha fazla?
Evet.
Hala yani bir arayışın var mı?
Evet.
Bölgelerde mi yoksa
Yan şehirlerde, Giresun'un yakın şehirlerinde mesela
Giresun'un
işte
yakınlarında?
Ordu, Trabzon
Hı.
işte
Peki
olabilir.
Ege'de?
Ege'de olduğunu biliyorum
Hı hı.
ama vakit ayırmam lazım.
Hı.
Henüz şu an bulduklarımızla idare etmek zorundayız.
Okay, so for now, yes, I am looking for wines near Giresun in the Black Sea region. You can say like in Ordu, in Trabzon. These are next to Giresun, these cities. I know there are more in the Aegean side, but I don't have time to go and search for them now. My first goal, my focus is now in the Black Sea region, and then maybe we can search for more in the different regions as well.
Okay. And a question I forgot to ask, but what kind of trees are you finding the vines growing with?
You are asking about the kind like oak tree kind of thing like that?
Right,
or?
right. Yes,
Okay.
the variety of tree, the species of tree.
Yeah, one second.
Sure. Yeah.
Türünü soruyor yani. Meşe ağacı.
Şurada bakalım. Akça ağaç, işte evet söyleyeyim. Akça ağaç, zeytin gördük.
So the first one is, I think it's is it rock maple? I'm not sure about the English term, or is it older? I need to check it in English.
Yeah.
So rock. Do you know the rock maple? No, it's
The
different.
maple, yeah.
I think it's
No.
maple. Yeah. One of them is maple, and also we have one second. Also, some of them are olive trees.
Olives?
Yeah, olives.
Oh, okay.
And we also have oak trees.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. Olives, oak trees, and maple trees.
Fantastic. I love that. Gizem and I communicated later, and she let me know that actually a lot of the vines are wrapped to hazelnut trees, which is what Giresun is known for. They actually ship their hazelnuts to be made into Nutella. So that's fun too. But she also showed me a photo that I will share online of an Isabella vine growing in a large walnut tree that's full of walnuts. So in these married vines, they're not just wrapped to trees for a trellis, but it's a double crop system where they're getting lots of nuts and grapes out of the same system of married vines. Well, I think that's all my questions. For you guys, I'd love to talk more, but I'd love to, come and visit and see and see all these things. But is there anything that I didn't ask that you think is important to say about the married vines and the kind of wine that you're making or that they make?
Okay, let us think. Başka eklemek istediğim bir şey var mı? I think that's it. But we appreciate you for having us here for this publication. So we are committed to advancing the married wine viticulture technique and also preserving this tradition. Hopefully, this tradition will become more widespread, demonstrating that sustainable viticulture and the concept of natural wine can indeed be achieved through wines made from these wines. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Sorry for the inconsistencies.
No. Please don't apologize.
I
Thank
hope
you so
we
much.
had more thorough conversation because this is not in our mother tongue,
Yeah. No, I
Sorry
really
if
appreciate
we
you guys
said something wrong. So,
well, thank you for helping Gizem, and thank you, Gizem, for being willing to do this in English.
You're welcome.
Really
Thank you
appreciate
so
you guys both for
Yeah,
making this possible. It's really, it's great to spread this. I also want to do what you guys are doing and help
thank you so
spread the
much.
word. Yeah, thank you so much. Wow, thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And if you'd like to follow Gizem on Instagram, her Instagram is at Kerasus Wine. That's at Kerasus Wine. And, if you'd like to, you can follow me at Organic Wine Podcast as well. Enjoy